Time extension on X. Developer of new 60 Euro Mega Drive Genesis game accused of using stolen artwork. And it's more than just accused. When you start looking through this, guys, it's pretty bad. And massive shout out to Castlemania Games, who gave me the heads up on this. Castlemania Ryan actually texted me. It was like, hey, check out this story. I was like, whoa, that's some pretty egregious theft right there. Developer of new $60 Euro Mega Drive Genesis game accused of using stolen artwork. Update, more examples have been found. And when we go through this, guys, it is bad. It's really bad. Update, since this article went live earlier, Crocodile and other BlueSky users, including Akari DC, have identified more examples of traced artwork in another one of Kai Magazine Software's games. Another one. So this is not the first time, by the way. The Sega Mega Drive Genesis action title, Metal Dragon. This is one of the 2 games from the company that is currently being sold on an Evercade cart alongside the video game Life on Mars. According to these fresh claims, Metal Dragon features material traced, and there is some obvious tracing going on here, from 1989 Sega title Tough Turf, as well as background that is a copy of a piece for Cardboard Swords, The Siege, and the Sandfox. There's also Metal Slug copied in this as well. I mean, everything. You go through it, it feels like every single thing, there was zero originality. They traced and copied and added in everything from other games. This is an indie game that was released this year for PC earlier this year, but has been sharing development updates for nearly a decade online. We've reached out to both Evercade and Cardboard Sword for comment. In response, Ollie Bent, the CEO of Cardboard Sword, issued the following statement. We were not aware of this at all, and certainly did not give permission for any of our work or assets to be used or reproduced like this. Still waiting to hear back from Evercade. So we're going to start going through some of these, and you'll see what I mean by traced and injected into this game, because it's bad. More stolen assets by K Magazine for their game Metal Dragon. Tough Turf 1989, right there on the top. Metal Dragon 2021, right there on the bottom. Now you could say, that's different. Like, it's close, but they definitely changed it enough, so that's fine. And if this was the only example, I'd be like, we're really reaching here, because that's not crazy. This could happen. Not a big deal. But as we go through these, you're going to notice a trend. In the intro, the buildings from a phone wallpaper and the background from an indie game called The Siege and the Star Fox. They superimpose these in a GIF that I'll show you in a second that showcases how it really is traced on top of it. It's literally the same background that they just ripped and put into their game. The artwork is literally the banner for the Twitter account of the devs. A version of this artwork was shared as early as 2016. Here's the original story with the other ones. There's a lot. There's an absolute ton of these. Kai Magazine Software, developer of homebrew games like Metal Dragon, Life on Mars, and The Secret of the Four Winds, has been accused of stolen artwork on its upcoming Western-themed shooting gallery, Death and Lead, alternatively titled Death and Lead. The retro developer and fan translator, Crocodile, is the person behind the new allegations, having publicly accused the company on BlueSky of using assets traced over existing sprites and AI-generated backgrounds for a 60 euro game. Responding to a video from YouTuber Retro Boy, Crocodile outlined an instance where Kai Magazine Software appears to have used AI-generated artwork to create a cutscene background before listing a number of other occasions where the developer seems to have traced over other pixel artists' work without their consent. And like I said, it gets bad. Some of these are like, not a huge deal. Other ones, I'm like, damn, bro, that's really bad. This is why you cannot trust YouTubers and publishers in the retro gaming space, which there's some truth to that. This 2025 Mega Drive game, presented as better than most NES games, has assets traced over existing sprites, Wild Guns and Shinobi 3. and AI generated backgrounds. Garbage game, garbage company, garbage shill YouTuber. I think I found where they lifted the locomotive from. And again, this looks like this is one of those concerns with the future of indie gaming where I feel like we almost need to start getting used to this because this is what indie devs, this is the new asset flip where they're just going to be injecting sprites into ChatGPT or Grok or whatever their fancy automated AI system they use is and say, make this look a little bit different. That's literally all they're going to do. That's what games are going to turn into. The actual art of creating a game is about to be completely erased. And you can fight against it, but it's happening. But this is egregious. That's why I have an issue with it. Where I'm like, they're not even trying. They're just like one for oneing this shit. I'm like, come on. Some examples of Crocodile highlighted, for instance, include Kai Magazine software lifting animations from classic video games like Shinobi 3 and Wild Guns, two amazing games, by the way. And perhaps more egregiously copying the work of a Vietnamese pixel artist named Dwayne Tran. We reached out to Kai Magazine software on 3 separate occasions for comment to see if they had any response to these allegations, but haven't heard back. Reaching out to Tran, one of the artists who work was allegedly copied, he told us, "This is shocking. I never knew that my artwork was stolen and used for commercial purposes. I can confirm 2 things. The locomotive was indeed a tracing of my original artwork here. And I've never heard of Kai Magazine software until now, and they have not received any contract from them for permission. I think some actions, more or less, should be taken for this act." According to Crocodile, this unfortunately doesn't seem to be an isolated instance either, with the developer later going on to name several more instances present in Kai Magazine software's video game Life on Earth, where the studio appears to have, yet again, traced over other people's animations and assets without their permission. This includes tracing over assets from games like Parasite in the City, 2012, Blade of Vengeance, 1993, material from the anime Kabaneri and the Iron Fortress, and artwork from Reddit and pixel artist websites Pixel Joint. We have some videos we'll go through in a second here. I'll show you all these, but I just want to show you the pictures of the very one-for-one that they trace over a lot. And this is, like I said, I'm not necessarily opposed to using ChatGPT to assist an indie developer, but you gotta make an original, bro. Like, what? This is bad. This is like legit just tracing. I can confirm we never heard about that, nor gave any right for anyone to do that. A developer on Planet Centauri told us via Facebook before later telling Crocodile, "Thanks for bringing this up. Not sure what we can do on our side, but I'll see with my colleague." As Crocodile notes, if this was a free fan game, none of this would arguably matter all that much, with most people willing to look the other way for much of the older examples as long as no money is being made, which is true. This is a 60 euro game, 60, and appropriate credit was given. But considering this is a premium product costing the same as most full-price Switch games, and the developer has also had other games published on the Evercade cart, it isn't exactly a great look to be borrowing so liberally from other sources without their permission, especially when there is a potential profit to be made. So I want to show you some of these examples that they showcased here, because there's some wild stuff. And there's a lot. Because when I saw the pictures next to each other, I was like, that doesn't look the same at all. Let's superimpose them, though. What happens when you do that? That sure looks, I don't know about you, but exactly the same background that was ripped off. That's crazy. That's crazy. We have, like I said, the train already was ripped and they just went to Google to search for it. We have Death and Lead there. This is the picture I showed you earlier. And there's also, we have this one here. Just tracing over the old image, exactly the same. Exactly the same. It's bad. Like I said, some of them, like the walking animations, I'm like, I don't know. Come on. Like, I don't really care so much about that because that's pretty fucking generic for an older game. Walking animations, okay. Running animations, I mean, I felt like when I saw these, this was a stretch. But when I saw the other stuff with the horses from Wild Guns and the backgrounds from Wild Guns and Shinobi 3, Cherry Blossom Tree is also from Pixel Joint, although the link is dead. Only Google has it in cache. The ship, everything. Everything in this game, it feels like. There was an explosion from Metal Slug that I saw earlier. I'm trying to find that right now. I don't know where it disappeared to. But Castlevania Games was not on board with this initially until Crocodile kept coming back with more and more and more. And then Ryan was like, oh, yeah, I apologize. You're right. This looks terrible. And I'll admit when I'm wrong. This was legit ripped off really bad. So I think that's interesting. And I do wonder about the repercussions from this, not just the fallout from having this game come out on EverDrive, but just the future of gaming in general. When I see this stuff, what is AI going to do, especially to indie games? This is not the last we hear of this. And I wonder if there's going to be AI technology advanced enough to find what things were built off of to call it out one for one, or if this is just the direction that AI is going to bring indie. But I keep going back to, I'm not against that. I'm not against using AI to save an indie developer time. Now, people are going to have an issue with me on that. I already know because they've already said they've had it. That's where I stand. I don't have a problem with them using AI to assist them make the game. I have a really big issue when they're really lazy about it and they just one for one shit. Like, no, you need to use it to your advantage, make it work with it, warp it, change it. This is lazy as fuck. This is lazy as fuck. And it's embarrassing. And it needs to be called out because we should expect better out of indie developers. Because if people are okay with this, it's only going to get worse. Believe me on that. But I'll leave that one there.